Hi guys, it's Kayla and welcome back to Love Tangle. Last time we became officially on Timo's route, so let's get started. Teemo main story chapter 5. I hesitantly choose Timo, or more precisely, I began backing away as Paul steps towards me and end up grabbing onto Timo's arms. Timo hasn't said a word since. I steal a quick glance at him, and when I do, he deliberately stares back at me. I love his casual clothing, by the way, guys. So cute.
My intention was for you to get some sleep. Why are you following me to my room?
I appreciate your concern, but I doubt I could sleep right now. I reply with a faint shrug. I don't suppose you'll be staying up to do research? If you are, perhaps I could give you a hand? He looks like he's planning on continuing to work. If that's the case, I should be helping him rather than sleeping. Although Timo remains expressionless, I have a clear idea of what thoughts are going through his mind. I quietly watch to see how he reacts. That's angry, Timo.
You want to stay up and help me do research? After favoring my argument in front of Paul like that.
I feel a pang of regret as it dawns on me what Timo's trying to say.
Your business is none of my concern. Even so, since you chose to avoid him and follow me, I have a responsibility to make sure that you sleep.
You're right. I'm sorry, but I really do want to talk with you right now. There's so much I want to learn about work and the leopards. Timo stares intently at me.
You want to talk with me? You're an oddball.
Oddball?
Indeed, I was thinking of looking into rehabilitation strategies for larger animals before going to bed. I guess if you can't sleep, I might as well let you help me until you get tired.
Although he sounds disgusted, I get the impression Timo isn't actually all that annoyed. Great, thanks Timo. So, research on rehabilitation strategies for larger animals, huh? I quietly celebrate my victory while expressing my interest in our task. Just then, meow, meow, a faint meowing comes out of nowhere. Is that a cat? I take a look at Timo in surprise.
Yeah, he probably came to see what all the noise is about.
When Timo grows quiet, I notice he's staring down at the little kitten, who looks startled. A kitten?
Uh-huh, Mr. C said it was okay.
Oh my gosh, boys with kittens, so cute. He squats down and gazes into the kitten's eyes. I get the feeling he's trying to reassure that everything's alright. Sure, but what's he doing in here?
I found him stuck in a ditch out in front of Lilac Court. He looked like he was kind of in bad shape, so I brought him back to my room.
You didn't want to abandon him, huh? That's nice of you. Timo makes no attempt to touch the kitten as the kitten begins rubbing up against him, begging for his attention. Considering how thin the kitten is, I wonder if he would have survived without Timo's help.
Hold on a second, I'll get you some milk.
Meow. How cute. Wait, this can't be easy for Timo. Hey, what about your allergies? I hear a lot of people are allergic to cat hair.
They're fine as long as I take my medicine.
Still, having the kitten around must affect him at least a little bit. Oh, is that him on the staircase? Was he always there? I never noticed that. Suddenly, I have an idea. I'd love to help you look after him. I squat down next to Timo and gaze at the little kitten. You know, I'd love to help you look after him.
Pardon?
I know I'm still settling in at work and I should be concentrating my time and energy there. However, you're pretty devoted to work yourself, which doesn't leave you a lot of free time, right? So wouldn't it make sense for us to care for the kitten together?
Where do you get these ideas from?
Timo sighs, then rather than turning me down, he faintly smiles. I softly introduce myself to the kitten without trying to pet him. I'll be helping take care of you from now on. I hope that we can become friends. Meow. His adorable reply draws a smile to my lips.
My animals seem to like you, don't they?
Not as much as they like you, but I'm working on it. I respond jokingly and smile at Timo.
That's ridiculous to be competing over.
He returns my smile with a disgusted look. It's not ridiculous. I wouldn't have become a researcher if I didn't love animals, and I think your level of passion is worth striving for.
Anyhow, at the top of those stairs, you'll find some research materials. Bring them down while I get him some milk. I'll let you stay for an hour, then you have to leave.
Following that, Timo heads into the kitchen. As for me, I head upstairs to look for the materials as instructed. A week has passed since I started helping care for the kitten. Today is the day of the leopard's surgery. Kaleda leopards are considered living treasures. This particular individual is saved, in a large part, by Paul's outstanding effort.
I think it's safe to say the surgery was a success. As for whether he'll be able to walk again, that will all depend on how his rehabilitation goes.
Paul lovingly strokes the leopard as it continues to sleep under the effects of anesthesia. Don't worry, Paul. We'll pull it off. Since that one morning in the cafe, my relationship with Paul has been awkward. Still, I don't intend to let it affect my work. Paul, of course, is a professional as ever.
Kayla, you're the core of his post-operative care team. I'm counting on you. You too, Timo.
Timo thinks it was the best choice.
And from one researcher to another, I have faith in you.
Thanks, Paul. I can't imagine a better compliment. I smile back at him.
You have faith in us?
Timo gives Paul a puzzled look.
Absolutely. Consider myself blessed with exceptional coworkers.
Paul shows no sign of ill will from their argument the other day and even smiles.
I see.
When Timo lowers his gaze, Paul sticks out his hand towards him.
I mean it. No hard feelings, okay? Uh-huh.
I worry for a moment what Timo's reaction will be. However, my fears are relieved when he reaches out and shakes Paul's hand. The morning following Paul's surgery on the Leopard, I take charge of his care.
Good morning, Michelle.
I'm in the middle of checking his vital signs when I hear someone greet me. When I turn around and see who it is, my heart skips a beat. Whoa, what a total surprise! Is it really that surprising to see him at work? Good morning. Timo just wished me good morning? Never in a million years did I expect this day to come. Oh yeah, because he never really says anything nice to us. Forgot about that. A huge grin spreads across my lips.
You seem tearful today.
Uh-huh, as do you. I can't bring myself to explain that I have his greeting to thank for it, so I give him a different reason instead. Perhaps it's because this boy's condition is starting to stabilize. According to Paul, the Leopard managed to avoid suffering from shock following the surgery. If he continues to improve, we should be able to start rehabilitating him soon.
Aha, Morgan's a skilled surgeon.
Timo gazes affectionately at the Leopard. He never fails to show the utmost kindness towards the animals around him. He's truly dedicated to protecting them, isn't he? Every time I witness his passion, I'm deeply moved, and it makes me want to be a better researcher. I'm so lucky to be surrounded by such admirable coworkers.
Oh, that's right. This is for you, Michelle.
A key? I give it a puzzled look as Timo holds it out to me.
I'll be late returning home tonight. Look after the kitten.
Oh, of course. Are you sure you don't mind me in your room when you're not there?
I trust you.
Aw, he trusts us. Timo places the key in my palm and starts walking away. He trusts me? A feeling of joy slowly wells up within me. I have the impression Timo and I have grown one step closer to one another. He loaned me his room key. Imagine that. Sure, I need it if I'm gonna look after the kitten, but that doesn't change the fact that he trusts me enough to loan it to me. I'm glad that he's opening up his heart even just a little. I smile to myself while preciously gripping the key in my fist. With Timo still at work, I take his key and quietly slip into his room. This is kind of exciting. Up until now, Timo had always brought homework with him, or at least returned home for dinner at night, and he was in his room whenever I came over to look after the kitten, but not today. Meow? I explained it to the kitten when he gives me a questioning look. Timo lent me this key. I'm here to feed you. The kitten, who has not received a name yet, is looking a lot healthier now. He's also starting to drop his guard a little and behaves more like an adorable little kitten should. I brought you a toy today. We can play after you finish eating, okay? Meow, meow. I show him the toy and he playfully pokes at it with his front paws. Good, he looks interested in it. But first, I need to feed him dinner. I start preparing the kitten's food. I shift around a little as something touches my shoulder. Where am I?
What are you doing on my floor?
Oh my gosh, did we fall asleep on his floor? Timo's disgusted voice echoes from above. Am I lying on the carpet? I'm still trying to get my bearings when I notice the kitten curled up next to me. It looks like he's sleeping next to me. Wait, sleeping? I abruptly sit up. What was I thinking? I managed to doze off while playing with him. I glance up at Timo, who's still staring down at me. In my rush to get up, I notice something fall from my shoulders. Huh? I look at it curiously for a moment. It's a checkered blanket. Did you put this blanket over me?
What do you expect when I see you sleeping on the floor? I don't want you to catch a cold and miss work.
His tone is rather stern, but I realize it's his awkward way of showing kindness and hiding his embarrassment. I find it more than a little bit charming. Thanks, Timo. I appreciate your kindness.
Kindness? If anything, I was disgusted.
If you were only disgusted, I doubt you would have put this blanket over me. He abruptly looks away when I smile at him.
You must be tired to be dozing off on my floor. Why don't you head back to your room?
I sense concern for my well-being hiding beneath his blunt attempt to push me out the door. You're right, I'm going. Just then, I remember the time the two of us shared our dreams for the future with one another.
Michelle, let's save these leopards.
Those few words embodied Timo's passion towards animals and his determination, even his aspiration to become a researcher at the World Animal Guardianship Group's Research Center. Comes from his desire to save animals, doesn't it? His love of animals is unconditional. The fact that he focuses his concern on them rather than his coworkers could easily lead to misunderstandings. Still, unless I'm mistaken, I think he's beginning to show some kindness towards me. Meow, meow. The kitten begins pleading with Timo for attention. He seems even more insistent with Timo than he was with me. He knows who this room's owner is, doesn't he? I have one request to make as I climb to my feet and begin straightening out my hair and clothing. Okay, I'll return to my room if you'll do one thing for me.
What's that?
Will you loan me all the materials you have on rehabilitation, especially the most recent ones? I want to be as good a researcher as Timo is, which means lots of studying.
Sure, no problem.
Timo nods and faintly smiles.
You're almost as much of a workaholic as I am.
That may be the greatest compliment Timo has ever given me. I immediately break into a grin. By morning, I finished reading all the materials Timo lent me, and I'm preparing to return them to him. They're pretty valuable references, so I'm sure he'll want them back as soon as possible. Huh? I look up and stop walking. Before I reach Timo's room, I find him and Paul talking in the hallway.
Oh, hi, Kayla.
I'm trying to decide if I should speak up when Paul notices me and calls out, "Sorry, I hope I'm not interrupting. I came to return these materials you lent me, Timo."
You're not interrupting. We were just talking about the Clado leopards.
You were?
Yeah, not just the one you're caring for, but the species in general.
He pauses a moment.
I did a little checking out of curiosity, and it seems their situation is extremely critical. Their population is dwindling, and yet the poachers continue, and cases of injuries from traps have been increasing lately. Paul just gave me the actual numbers, and it was quite a shock. Caring for them is definitely of the utmost importance. I told Timo that given the situation, I'm determined to see our injured leopards recover to the point he can return to the wild. He's one of the few younger individuals left. The future of the Clado leopards depends on him. Good teamwork is critical at a time like this, don't you think? Out of all our staff, I trust you two the most, and I hope you'll follow up on everything the team does.
We'll provide all the support we can, right, Timo? I nod deeply, then turn to look at Timo, who I'm sure will approve just as strongly as I do. At least, that's what I expected to see. Timo, what's wrong? Timo loves animals more than anyone. He wouldn't balk to giving support at a time like this. And yet, he doesn't look at all pleased. When I see this, I can't help but ask, "Timo, are you worried about the leopard's future? Maybe what Paul told him is so much worse than he'd imagined, and he's in shock. Timo, are you worried about the leopard's future?" I immediately inquire. If you and I work hard, hopefully we can protect them. My thought is that a little encouragement will help relieve his anxiety.
Yes, hopefully.
He appears to relax a little bit. However, he still doesn't respond quite as I would expect. What's wrong, Timo? Was it really that painful to hear what Paul had to say? His uncharacteristic lack of composure leaves me feeling unsettled.
Oh, that reminds me.
Paul suddenly and a bit dramatically raises his voice.
There's something I actually wanted to talk with you about, Timo.
He casually slaps Timo on the shoulder. What the heck?
Can you give me a few minutes of your time? What business could you possibly have with me? We're co-workers, aren't we? Why wouldn't I have things to discuss with you?
It dawns on me as I listen to Paul's cheerful tone. He's trying to lighten the mood, isn't he? "Oh, I only stopped by to return these." I hurriedly hand Timo the materials I had borrowed. They'd probably prefer to talk alone, wouldn't they? Timo thinks it was the best choice. Sorry again for interrupting.
Not at all. I feel bad for rushing you off.
I'll see you both later. Without further comment, I hurry back to my room. Once Kayla has left, Paul glances over at Timo. Timo still appears rather discouraged.
Timo, has something happened that I should know about? No, we're a team, remember? I don't want us keeping secrets from one another. It's personal.
Without another word, Timo returns to his room.
You expect me to believe that? I saw the look you had in your face.
Paul mutters to himself while staring at Timo's closed door. Several days later.
Today, I'd like to report on the leopard's progress since the operation.
Our team, led by our surgeon Paul, gathers in the examination room for a conference. Timo was sure acting strange the other day, but he seems to be fine now. I've been worrying that maybe something happened between him and Paul, but I guess not. I begin to feel relieved as I steal an occasional glance at Timo's placid expression.
Now that his condition is stabilizing, it's about time we start discussing rehabilitation. Hold on a second, it's too early to discuss rehabilitation. He needs more rest for his fracture to heal. I agree he needs more rest, but...
Paul appears slightly puzzled by Timo's remark.
That shouldn't prevent us from discussing his rehabilitation, should it? Any conclusions we arrive at from his current condition could end up all wrong.
Timo's being awfully careful, almost too careful.
Unlike me, Timo, you're experienced with looking after Clado leopards.
Paul glances around the room. He doesn't appear particularly upset by Timo's opposition.
You've heard Timo's opinion. What do the rest of you think? Should we continue to observe the leopard a little longer?
If Timo thinks we should, then why not?
I seriously doubt he'll listen to anyone else's opinion.
I sense the group is more concerned about the trouble opposing Timo might cause than they are about respecting his knowledge and experience. Although not aimed at me, their barbed remarks still cause my heart to ache. How can they talk like that? Sure, Timo's not the friendliest person in the world, but he's never done anything bad enough to deserve this kind of treatment. He may be awkward, but he's actually a very nice person. Although their cold attitudes towards him border on being impolite, Timo doesn't appear bothered by it. It's almost as if he's used to living in solitude, which really begins to worry me. Okay, we clear the checkpoint. 10 days have passed since our first conference on rehabilitation. Paul gathers the team into his examination room again.
Okay, last time we agreed we would continue to observe the leopard's progress. After further detailed evaluations, his conditions following the surgery remain stable. Thanks to his youth, I think he'll make a full recovery. With that news, this time I'm hoping to start discussing rehabilitation. You're rushing it.
Once again, Timo is opposed.
It's obvious your surgical skills are impeccable, and you've accomplished quite an achievement. There's no need to push for results.
Following Timo's comment, a commotion passes through the rest of the team. I too feel a little uneasy. Timo may simply be trying to express his desire not to rush things, but the way he worded that makes it sound like Paul's striving to distinguish himself. Although Timo's remark puts me on edge, Paul doesn't appear particularly angered by it.
As the person in charge of the Clado Leopards, I respect your opinion, but you'll have to excuse me. I've got other business to attend to.
Timo abruptly stands and leaves the examination room without even a glance back. What's going on, Timo? His exceptional show of obstinacy has me completely bewildered.
That guy's unbelievable.
Dr. Morgan, please ignore him. He's acted like that for as long as I can remember. He shouldn't have been put on the team in the first place. Sure, he's enthusiastic about his work, but he doesn't interact well with others. He's a nut is what he is. He only likes animals. So maybe Timo's attitude wasn't stellar. That's no reason to say those things about him. I lower my head and dejectedly bite my lip. How can they say such horrible things about a teammate?
Regardless, since he's in charge, we'll have to put our discussion on hold without his input. Let's wrap up this meeting.
Paul raises his voice, interrupting the rest of the group's abusive comments. They immediately fall silent. Still, their displeasure over Timo is abundantly clear. Is there anything I can do to help Timo's situation? Paul notices my discouragement and quietly whispers in my ear.
Kayla, look after Timo, will you? If there's anyone he'll open up to, I suspect it's you.
Me?
We have to come together as a team if we're going to properly care for that leopard, and right now that isn't happening.
Paul lets out a sigh.
I feel bad asking you to do this, but can I count on you?
Yes, of course you can, Paul. My childhood friend is concerned about Timo. The realization elicits a smile from me. Paul's concern for Timo saves me from complete discouragement, but I'm still disappointed by the attitudes of the rest of the team. I could use something to cheer me up. Watching animals sound perfect. I don't relish the idea of returning to the lab, and decide to visit the leopard area instead. Huh? Upon arriving, I spot a familiar-looking handsome man. It's Henrik. Hello. It's the same young man I've seen greet Timo in the past.
Hi.
The young man gives me a curious look as he replies.
Where's the leopard man?
He doesn't appear to recognize me and asks for Timo. I believe he's busy with work. Would you like me to fetch him?
No, I'll be back again later.
Having said that, the young man leaves. Weird. Several days have passed since that rather unpleasant conference. Timo, you're still here? I've just finished my late shift when I notice Timo, who started early, is still in the lab. Without thinking, I call out to him. You spent all your time in the lab these last few days. Why don't you walk home with me?
No, but thanks. I'm concerned about the leopard. It's a critical period, and I don't want to miss even the slightest change in his condition.
Timo flatly turns down my offer. At this rate, he may end up living here at the lab. He looks exhausted, though. I wish he'd at least take some rest today. All this determination on his part must be related to the director's talk with Paul. Earlier, by chance, Timo and I had happened to overhear Paul receiving a directive from our superior.
So if we don't start rehabilitation soon, you'll disband the team and pass it on to someone else? I can't let that happen. Critical portions of the leopard's care will be lost. Understood. Let me try discussing it with Timo once more.
Paul's receiving pressure from above. That's why he's in a hurry to start rehabilitation, isn't it? Timo, who was standing beside me listening at the time, was quite angered by what he heard.
That's horrible. They're choosing their own interest over that of the leopard.
I assume Timo feels that there's an ideal point during the leopard's recovery when rehabilitation should start. As a result, he has started caring for the leopard around the clock in an effort to speed up his recovery a little bit. He's angry, and yet he understands Paul's position and is focusing on what he can do for the leopard. I respect that. Still, I'm worried this burden is too much for him to handle alone. I shift my attention to some data which has recently arrived. Fine, then I'll stay the night too.
I don't need you here. Go home.
I'm staying here for the leopard, not for you. I smile and shake my head at him. That, and I want to give him a hand.
Good grief, you're generous to a fault.
Timo lets out a sigh and makes no further attempts to chase me off. And so, the long night begins. Why don't you take a nap first? That way you can be awake when the leopard is, since it's nocturnal.
Okay.
Excellent. Hopefully he'll get a little bit of sleep this way. While Timo's napping, I look after the leopard for him. Timo's here for the leopard, and I'm here for Timo and the leopard. So that's the end of the chapter. Look forward to the next one.
That couldn't have been easy. when you chose Timo. No, never mind. Talking about that's only gonna hurt my pride. By the way, sorry again for having you look after him. If only the others would be a little more cooperative. I know Timo's obstinate, but is that too much to ask for?
Hi, Paul.
Oh, hey, it's Joy, right?
Come on, don't tell me you've forgotten me already. All three of you working together must have you in your own little world.
That's not true.
So, I bet you're curious what happens in the next chapter, aren't you? Boy, Kayla. She's completely hung up on Teemo, don't you think?
I'll say, I don't like it. She's supposed to be my...
Stop! No more nonsense about her being your fiancé. Kayla, Teemo will change, and you're the one that will make it happen. You'll save him from his solitude. Then just imagine what the two of you will accomplish together.
You realize I'm also a part of their team, right?
I know that. Listen, Paul, you'll really be moved by this next chapter.
I'll be happy just to have our team come together. Maybe then I can worry about my proposal to Kayla.
Again with the proposals? Kayla, I'm here for you whenever you need me. Don't forget that. Okay guys, that is the end of chapter 5. Hopefully the leopard will be feeling better and Teemo as well next time. See you guys then. Bye!